Hey guys, welcome to Worlds Collide. I'm Matt.
And I'm Tony.
And this is a very special episode of Worlds Collide, something we've been working on for a while now. We finally got our first guest on the show. Man who needs very little introduction, Orlando. Say
Hey
hi.
guys.
Orlando, you excited to be here?
I am. It's beyond words. It's like a dream come true.
Everything you hoped and dreamed.
It is, and it's like a scratch and sniff for me.
All right, today's discussion, something that we've been wanting to do for a while, is going to be the debate over Batman versus Superman and Civil War. Orlando, tell everyone what you first thought of Civil War, your reaction to it. Did you like the movie?
I absolutely enjoyed it. I thought it was probably one of Marvel's best to date.
What else did you like about it?
I liked, obviously, what everybody else liked, the Spider-Man. I liked the actor that they picked to play Peter Parker. He fit the role perfectly, in my opinion. The suit was awesome, and I look forward to, what Marvel's gonna do with that character.
Okay, I'm gonna throw this in right away. Then, compared to Batman versus Superman, which one did you like more?
Bunch of Marvel fanboys. You can smell them from a mile
Well, I
away.
can tell you this
You can smell
much.
something from
I
a
can
mile
tell you
away.
this much: the pacing in Civil War was professionally done.
Even the professional in there.
Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed Batman versus Superman, but not as much as I enjoyed Civil War. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
And I am wearing a DC shirt, and this is in honor of Kal-El, Superman, who DC has turned its back to and pretty much put a kryptonite knife in his back. But that's just my opinion.
All right, Tony, you look like you got some things to say.
And
Let him out. What do you want to say? Why do you think that
just
Batman
what you gotta say. Don't let everything out.
Why? Yeah, don't let everything out. We've already seen how that worked out.
Well, I liked both movies. Batman vs Superman obviously was my favorite.
Why?
It just was. I mean,
You can't say it just
okay,
was.
but if I go into detail, which we already did in one of our videos about why in my opinion, like in your opinion, Civil War was better than Batman vs Superman just because you spent so much time with it.
That was one of the biggest things.
that's-
One of the biggest factors that Marvel has over DC is that they've spent 8 years building the chemistry and the history of these characters with the audience. I've said I feel even more strongly about it. As much as I enjoyed Batman vs Superman, I wish that it wasn't their second film now. I wish it would have gone Man of Steel, Batman Solo, Man of Steel 2, build me an epic story. Get me, I understood the reasons, their motivations behind fighting, but I didn't feel it.
Yeah, but they only made it because of Batman vs Superman.
Made what?
Civil War.
Oh, you really think that Civil
Wow,
War wasn't in the
dude.
play?
Really?
Anyway,
Really?
so
Bruce Wayne has all this anger, and all of a sudden, your name's Martha? My mother's
Oh, yeah.
name's Martha, too.
Don't forget,
Oh, my
guys.
God.
Wait. Don't forget, guys, because I'm with you to the end of the line. Yeah. Totally makes sense. Oh, sun's getting real low, buddy. Oh, yeah. Totally makes sense.
It
Actually-
doesn't matter, dude. DC's
No.
playing catch-up.
No,
Oh my God.
Marvel did do it though. If you in the beginning of Civil War, when he's got Crossbones, as soon as he says Bucky's name, he's all, "What did you say?" Like it totally threw him off guard. It's like, "Why did you say that name?"
Doesn't matter, dude. DC's playing catch-up. They're
Yeah.
playing
DC
catch-up.
and
And it's not.
and-
It's not paying off for them.
No,
It's not paying off for them. These characters, you have no attachment to them, dude. There's no backstory whatsoever. Not cinematically, at least.
like I'm attached to Superman, but like it sucks. I mean,
Yeah.
he got crapped on in this movie.
He
We talked
did.
about that.
He's not
Or
even
you
getting
know
a
what?
proper sequel.
It was even like the first half hour, like we talked about, man. The first half hour of Batman vs Superman is awesome because we have been to the Battle of Metropolis. Like you felt it because we had already experienced that.
Oh, yeah. Unlike Disney's freaking Marvel movies where they won't kill anyone. Yeah. Let's talk more about Marvel and what Disney won't do.
Okay, so bring it on.
No, it's okay.
That's all he's got to
Yeah,
say about.
I already knew how this was going to go, considering I have two Marvel fanboys next to
It's
me.
not even about being fanboys.
It's about
dude.
making
Okay,
better movies.
DC has 2 movies in their lineup that finally released. Their 2 movies alone, compared to the MCU's first phase fucking movies, did way better than any of their...
Well, yeah, because they're biting off the MCU, bro.
Yeah, no, they're not biting. They're
Of
doing a
course they
different
are.
direction.
Of course they are.
No,
dude.
they've been doing a different direction. And
Zack
the
Snyder
first...
should stick to doing movies about men in tights with spears, not men in tights with capes.
The first 4 MCU movies they barely even broke 500,000. Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman, just two movies in their lineup already broke.
Okay,
In Marvel's defense, they were starting what they started back 8 years ago to now. The hype has never been higher for superhero movies. So it might be easy to say that it's easier for DC to make more money or make as much money as it did the first 4 movies because everyone's hyped for these
Marvel
movies.
paved the way.
Hype for what?
The climate was very different back when Iron Man came out.
Every movie is the same formula. Nobody dies. It's all fun and games. The jokes kill the mood. Like, I can go on for days.
The jokes didn't kill the movie.
Yes, they did.
But Jesse Eisenberg didn't kill Batman vs Superman.
No, I liked him.
I liked him.
Whatever, man.
I like Jesse Eisenberg. But here,
the red coats are
one of the biggest issues I have with Batman vs Superman now is that I know that there's an extended cut coming. When we just saw it again recently, it's almost like I can't enjoy the movie anymore because I know there's an extended version coming. And it might make the movie that much better. Now, if it doesn't, then I can go back to, obviously, this cut that we have now. But it's like, I wish that whoever made the decision to trim the movie down to 2.5 hours, give me a fucking 4-hour movie, dude. I want to see the movie as it was intended to be. And if that means it needs to be a 4-hour movie, it should have been a 4-hour movie. And whereas in Civil War, it was well paced out. The story was fleshed out. I didn't feel like I was jumping around from place to place, like going from a night scene where Bruce Wayne's in an underground fighting match to Clark Kent at the Daily Planet all of a sudden. It's like, what's going on, man? No,
Civil War did the same thing.
When?
It jumped from character to character to character.
What are you talking about? But it felt progressive. It felt natural.
Yeah, with their unnatural freaking city signs that took up the whole screen.
Oh, God.
Paris. London. Let me annotate it as big as I can.
That's not the first movie to ever do it.
I know, but it was stupid in this movie.
Oh my god.
That's just a personal opinion.
You have such a negative attitude that what am I gonna do?
And then the CGI at the end of the battle it looked all fake. Spider-Man was all CGI.
He was all CGI in the other movies too. Superman was all CGI.
I know,
Batman
that's why I
was all
said that,
CGI.
because people were bitching.
This debate's going nowhere.
Look, bottom line, I enjoyed Batman vs Superman. I really did, and I'm with Matt. I'm looking forward to seeing the extended version of it because it just felt like there was a lot missing. That's just my opinion. But yeah, dude, I think that they did an injustice to the Superman character.
I absolutely can agree with that. You even
Just
shit on him.
It just seems like,
and that sucks.
It just seems like Warner Brothers and DC is so focused on the Batman IP, and I get it. I love Batman, and I think Ben Affleck is amazing, as Batman. But they pretty much shit on Superman. He's never going to get a proper sequel, and that's one character that deserves a proper sequel.
Can you agree with that?
I agree that he deserves a sequel. I agree. And I agree a little bit that they did take away a little bit from Superman in Batman vs. Superman because it kind of focuses mainly on Bruce.
He's like the Hawkeye.
No, in his motivations, they did a really good job in BVS of giving you Bruce Wayne's motivations to why he hates Superman so much. It was perfectly done. But it was like, if you look at it, Superman's motivations, Superman the whole movie was going, I just want to help everybody. I want to be able to do it. And he kept getting crapped on. And, then we had the Senate hearing that he was just like, he shows up and everybody dies. And it's just like, he's getting crapped on the whole movie.
Yeah, no, and for this episode being like, technically like they're saying like it's that middle movie that's really, really, really dark. I agree with that. I agree with what Zack Snyder's been doing for him starting as Superman and Man of Steel, going to Batman vs. Superman and slowly learning the realities of the world and the way the world sees it as it currently stands in our world. And I agree with that. Up until, hopefully, if they give him his sequel movie, and they can make him that bright, shining star that he's supposed to be, and that will be the ultimate story. It's like, show him at his worst in the beginning, and how he got to that point where he was the Superman that we all love and know. And I still love this Superman. Like, this version of Superman still, to me, is... I like seeing that human side of him. I know he's not human, but that human side where he can fail, he can't save everyone, people are gonna die. He is gonna feel for it because he was raised a human, so he has those feelings that fuck, all these people just died and I couldn't see it because I wasn't looking. So it's like, I like that take on it. I like what they did with Batman vs Superman. I know he didn't have as much screen time, and I know they didn't focus on him being a bright shining hero. But I feel
I
like
didn't-
they can explore that later.
But I didn't need it to be the bright shining hero because they did a really good job in the movie, especially during the news montage. Whereas even as people are shitting on the news, he's out there saving people, and that's one of the one of my favorite scenes of the movie is when they're cutting back from all these different news people who are like, well, we were looking for a god, and one shows up, and now people are like, well, what do we do? You know, how do we look up to him? That kind of. So and in the middle of that, like he's pulling the oil tanker behind. You know, like I really enjoyed that. It just when I look at the motivations, then you go to, especially when it comes to the final battle versus Batman, it's just like, what? Like, it could have been better.
I mean, Cap could have brought Bucky back in some other way than saying I'm with you to the end of the line, but it didn't happen.
He's tried. He tried the entire. Once he found out Bucky was alive in Winter Soldier, that's all he cared about, especially after the end of the movie.
It's essentially the same concept. Like, some people are complaining about the whole Martha scene when it does make sense in the context of how both their moms are. That
Couldn't
makes
agree
sense.
more. I
And
totally
then,
agree with
but
you.
to shit on it and say, oh yeah, Martha, that stopped the fight, that's stupid. But then you go back to Bucky and Cap saying I'm with you to the end of the line, and that knocks Bucky back in the sense. Or Black Widow going to Hulk and saying, sun's getting real low, buddy. And he fucking transforms back to Bruce. Like, what the fuck? You want to talk about fucking lines that are stupid? That's fucking stupid.
Really, Mister, the redcoats are coming.
That's Jesse Eisenberg. Like, I mean, I don't.
It has nothing to do.
It felt like I was watching The Social Network.
No, for me, like I said, I wish that we had. I wish DC wasn't playing catch up. Because I would have loved. I think would have enjoyed the movie even more if we had time to get to know these characters. Like, 8 years we've been watching Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, so you understand where he's coming from because he's obviously not the same Robert Downey Jr. from the first Iron Man. Same with Captain America, World War II. He is not the same Captain America that we met then. So, and it's one of the things that I feel is like Marvel's got that upper hand on DC, and rather than and I think when they first announced Batman versus Superman, we both said it, or maybe I did, where I was just like, I'm just worried that they're trying to go too hard too fast. You know, like it was just because they had to play catch up, and because Man of Steel wasn't as maybe critically received as they hoped it would, even though you and I both loved it.
It's a great movie.
It's
amazing.
It is my definitive Superman movie. I like this version of Superman.
I think it stands above some of the MCU movies.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. It absolutely does. It just, unfortunately, at the end of the day, when comparing Civil War to Batman versus Superman, I mean, Civil War ultimately stands higher for me than Batman vs Superman does.
I mean, I can see where you're coming from with the whole, like, they've been building it over a long period of time, but to me, there is such thing as too long of a build-up. And to me, it's like with each movie, the formula is the same, and I never feel a fear of, like spoilers for the comics. Spoilers for the comics. Cap dies in the comics. I know it's an adaptation. I know that. I'm just saying that, like, the first hero they killed in the MCU is Quicksilver, and nobody fucking cared about Quicksilver. He was in one movie, he died in one movie. It was the end. That's done.
I can agree with you, man.
And I feel like Disney needs to make that jump. They need to make that real big jump, kill someone off really important, whether it's Cap, whether it's Iron Man. I mean, make that decision, but it's like, at the end of the day, that will give your series, it's like Game of Thrones. Like, I don't know if you guys watch Game of Thrones, but a lot of main characters die, and it's like it keeps people wanting to come back. It makes people hate them, but then they want to come back for more to see where the story goes.
And that's one of the Game of Thrones isn't afraid to have the balls. And I give DC props and having the balls to kill off Superman in their second movie. Now, yes, we know he's coming back, but still, the fact that they were willing to take that and do it showed some serious balls on their part, and I think I hold that higher as compared to Captain America. Like Civil War, like I always joke about, it's more like civil dispute. It's a dispute. It's not really a war.
I like that.
Yeah, it's not a war. Like it's more of just a dispute.
DC's better.
No, okay, let's take it back. We got four movies before the Avengers. I don't think we would have even needed 4 movies. Like, if I could have gotten the Man of Steel, a Batman solo film, and then even maybe a Wonder Woman film. Maybe it doesn't have to.
That needs to happen.
No,
just like Black Widow needs to happen.
Yeah.
My opinion.
Really? That's a whole nother topic. If we could have gotten, even in 2 films, like 2013 Man of Steel, 2016, the Batman solo film, maybe a Man of Steel 2, and then get us into Batman vs Superman, it would have hit so much harder. It would have hit audiences so much harder because you would have had this short amount of time to get to know these two iconic characters. Whereas Marvel has iconic characters now because of the movies. There's Iron Man was not an A-list Marvel character until the movie. Captain America was not an A-list Marvel character until the movies. Yes, we know who they were, but they weren't as popular as they are now. Batman and Superman are arguably the two biggest heroes, comic book heroes. So if we could have gotten the little bit of extra time to really invest in these characters, I feel it would have made Batman vs Superman that much better.
I agree. I agree with character development.
Yeah,
I do like that, and I agree with everything that you're saying about building up more. But at the same time, it's like there have been 10 Batman movies, and Warner Brothers has never got their act together. I mean, I know that at one point they were supposed to make a Justice League movie, and it just never happened. But it's like Warner Brothers never got their act together. Now I'm still okay with them speeding up the process because, I mean, it's like I just want to see the Justice League. And I know by the time we get to the Justice League, I mean, we're still going to have, I know Suicide Squad doesn't really involve any of the Justice League members besides Batman, and then there's Wonder Woman that comes out after it.
Yeah.
Or before it, actually. Wonder Woman
Well,
comes
and
out.
it's like, okay, so we're living in this world now where it's just like we have to deal with it. This is the way it is. Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, and we're moving on. That is just, and that's fine. But give us time. I mean, what it goes, Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, and then Justice League. So, I mean, I hope the same mistakes aren't made for rushing purposes for The Flash, Cyborg, and Aquaman. Like, how are they? Because then that's only 3 of the characters. Luckily, we'll have the Wonder Woman movie to know who her character is. I'm hoping that with Justice League Part 1, we don't have that issue where it's like, well, what are the motivations behind Aquaman, Cyborg, and The Flash? Like, why are they... Why, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get
it's
what
the
you're
same
saying.
issues that a lot of people have with Wonder Woman. Well, why now? Why did she decide that this was the time that she was going to come back and fight after 100 years of leaving humanity behind?
I'm actually looking forward to Wonder Woman.
I am so looking forward to Wonder Woman. I mean, that's the most iconic female comic book hero, and she's finally getting hopefully her due in this movie.
The first female solo movie for a
Yeah,
comic
that too.
book.
Hey, she got one up on Marvel.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So ultimately, at the end of the day, until I can see the 3-hour cut, and if it could flesh out the movie even more, Captain America sits higher for me.
Do we know when that's coming out?
July.
July
Yeah.
7th, 18th.
Yeah, somewhere right in that range.
It's kind of a slow turnaround, isn't it? Then they're normally out sooner than that.
Well, 4 months. It
No.
came out in March,
I think it's about
so it's about 4 months. Yeah, because it's still popping in theaters. But ultimately, so Orlando, you still put Civil War above Batman vs Superman?
I do, just because of the character development.
Now, that's not to say that DC over the
It's
next 2
not.
years can up their ante and really, take the lead on Marvel.
Well, I mean, and then there's been creative changes with the leads, and we'll talk about that later, but...
Again, I mean, I'm just really...
Hey, we can actually bring that up now. Why? I mean, we're going to discuss it in our DC movie news,
Bottom
but just
line,
the fact that it's like...
It upsets me that I just personally feel like they're not giving one of the greatest comic book characters of all time, Superman, his due credit.
And the fact that there's no real visionary. Kevin Feige has been the visionary for Marvel since Iron Man. So now that DC, hopefully, with getting Jeff Johns and what's the other guy's name? I can't do it. John Berg.
So basically, they switched gears. Originally, Zack Snyder was the head of all the DC stuff. Now it's going to be Jeff Johns and who?
John Berg. I don't know if Zack Snyder was actually like their creative visionary.
I think he was the one making the string, saying this is where I'm going with it. These are the timelines, because they said that he built a map and everything.
But they didn't have like a Kevin Feige who oversees everything. And now they have these two guys to do it. Obviously,
Which I'm actually like a little bit. If like I'm kind of sad because like Zack Snyder's not as bad as everyone says he is. I feel like there's just like this weird fucking hate train that it's like when one person says they hate something and all of a sudden it starts spreading like a fucking wildfire. Like you fucking retarded people. Like
you're dropping these F-bombs
because they don't fucking know why they hate Zack Snyder. They say he's a douchebag, but they don't actually know the reason why. Do you know him? No. Why?
He's not a douchebag. He's done some great work.
I love him as a visionary director. We talk about it all the time.
I like
Visionary. I mean, like
his visual style is amazing.
people like to crap on it, but loved 300. I actually love Sucker Punch. I know not very many people didn't. His Dawn of the Dead remake was really good. Watchmen is outstanding. And then Man of Steel, and now Batman vs Superman. I mean, like I'm not saying, yeah, I've loved all of his movies. You know, it's just when it comes to Batman vs. Superman. And then again, we don't know everything. He may have put it together, this 4-hour cut, and he's like, this is it. This is the perfect movie. And Warner Brothers is like, nah, bro, we're not going to make money off of it because it's a formula.
His hands were probably tied.
Yeah, it's a formula. We know if we can get this many showings, we sell this many tickets, we can make this much money. At a 4-hour movie, they can only show that so many times in the theater,
Right.
you know, during the day. So they were just like, no, it's just too long. We can't do that. And that sucks.
Well,
the final cut can be something completely different that could blow.
And that's why it's like we already know this extended cut is coming, and it makes me enjoy the theatrical cut less because I know that there's more footage. I know that there's just a lot that they cut out. Like there's one guy I follow.
Did you go
on Twitter.
into it feeling that way though? Because I know I did.
What?
That going into Batman vs Superman, I knew that what I was gonna watch was not the definitive vision that Snyder had.
They didn't announce it until after it had come out.
But there was rumblings though that they had to cut so much out.
oh yeah.
Oh yeah, but my mistake. I mean, my mistake, and I don't do this often. Was I read reviews before it came out? Should not have done that. Should have gone in there with my own opinion. Let me watch the movie, and then I'll go and read what other people think about it. Because I mean, that's why it took me 2 viewings to even kind of start to formulate my own opinion.
Yeah, because someone's putting those thoughts in your head, and you're already going into the movie with a little formulated opinion. Yeah, you'll create your own opinion, but most of your opinion is going to be based off of what you heard.
Which is like with Civil War, I didn't read any reviews. I stayed away from the internet, and I said I will go see it. That's why I saw it the first showing I could, and then I could formulate my own opinion. So that's my fault for doing that, and that's something I normally don't do. And but I mean, ultimately, I know where it stands. I want DC to succeed. We talk about this all the time. DC needs to succeed because Marvel's succeeding. There's no question about it.
You need a competitive
DC,
market.
and it doesn't even have to be competitive towards each other because Henry Cavill just said recently, he's like, I love Marvel movies. I love that what they're doing because if they're doing well, then the superhero genre is doing well. Mm-hmm. And it is a genre now. It's not just like a superhero movie. It's a genre of movies now, is superheroes or comic-based films or whatever you want to call them. It is a genre, and they need to do well. So you don't think that Marvel wasn't supporting Batman vs. Superman? They have to be, because when Batman vs. Superman is making money and people are excited that if it was critically well received, they're going to want to come see the next Marvel movie, and people talk about, well, did maybe we talked about this last week, did maybe the negative reviews of Batman vs. Superman hurt Civil War?
It could.
Not for us, because obviously this is what we're way into.
Right, but to the casual viewer,
it may have something to do with that. So we need these films to succeed so that we can continue to get these 6, 7, 8 movies a year.
That's like the Fantastic Four, the recent movie that came out.
Fan-4-Stick.
A lot of people don't know that belongs to, cinematically at least, to Fox.
Yeah, the rights do.
But they're associating it with the Marvel Cinematic.
Yeah, because they see Marvel and for the casual moviegoer, they don't know that it's a totally.
And there was a fear that it could affect.
Yeah.
Could affect ticket sales.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, as it stands for DC, at least they have a new creative. We just talked about that. So
with these.
And Jeff Johns was saying, and I wasn't too happy about the news because to me it sounds like it's a camouflage for what it really is. He said that he's going to be implementing more hope and more, inspiration or something like that. And to me it just sounds like a little camouflage for, we want to put more humor into it now. Mm-mm. And that's what it sounded like to me. But I mean, that could be wrong. They could be doing, I'm okay. I felt like Man of Steel had a lot of hope.
It did. I mean, especially the first time he flies.
Yeah.
And he's up in the sky, and it does that shot where it wraps around him, or he turns.
Yeah.
It definitely had that. Or even in Batman vs. Superman, it has the hope. It's not as maybe blatantly in your face, but it has it there. There are moments of it. Namely, when he gets hit by the nuke, and then they do that slow turn on the sun.
That was awesome.
What an amazing shot. Awesome. And then he opens his eyes, and I mean, it gives you that hope that he's coming back. Or even the very end, even though it's overcast and cloudy, that shot when it goes down on the coffin and you see the dirt rise for a split second, I mean, that's a hopeful shot. I mean, granted, most comic book fans know, obviously, Superman Returns.
Yeah.
To the casual moviegoer, they would, maybe they didn't want them walking out thinking, wow, they killed Superman.
Well, and there was even Bruce's speech at the very end that men will lie, men will cheat, but we can do better.
Right.
So... But I mean, as it stands, I'm okay with more, more hope and and they were even saying Justice League, they're saying that basically Batman vs Superman was going to be the the darkest one. It was gonna be like the Two Towers of Lord of the Rings, and
Yeah.
then part 3 was gonna be more like light and humor, more I guess now.
I
Hope.
do find it kind of weird, and maybe we'll see it once we see, you know, the movie and stuff. It's like, if they want to call it a trilogy, it's funny that it's not like a Man of Steel 2,
Yeah.
because it feels like it's Superman's journey, you know?
Yeah.
Man of Steel, and then it's like, okay, now you brought Batman vs. Superman, you're introducing this other world, and then, you know, I guess that kind of makes sense. I guess I could see it in the trilogy sense how it would work out, but it feels like, I want to see his story. I want to see Superman's story.
I do too.
So... All right,
I mean,
Civil War here, Batman vs Superman here. About the same. Oh, dude, that's a large difference. It's about the same. You though, it's Superman. It's
I gave Civil War an 8. I gave Civil War an 8. I gave Batman vs Superman a 10.
Oh,
And
God.
I don't know.
All right.
We already talked about all my complaints. I mean, you know, just throwing in
Yeah, you can watch
characters.
the other videos and you
Yeah,
can go on and on about
you know,
it.
Marvel just keeps throwing in characters that have nothing to fucking do with it. Like, I'm Team Paul Rudd, but like his
Really,
Team
guys?
Paul.
But his-
Suicide
but-
Squad?
I'm Team Paul Rudd, but his character had nothing to fucking do with the Civil War. They were just like, hey, we need your help. Okay, I'm a big fan of Captain America. I'm gonna help you and go to
shaking your
jail.
hand far too long.
Oh, and then
Great joke.
Tony Stark's all of a sudden knows Spider-Man. Anyway, so.
You
All
done?
right.
Are you done?
Then we're gonna cut it there.
Oh, and then the bad villain that fucking was retarded.
Well, that's argued. See, that's another thing we could argue about, because that Zemo is technically Lex Luthor. It's just a human who was the one that just some guy.
But I feel like Lex Luthor left more of an imprint on me than Zemo. I like.
That's because you're a DC fan.
No.
He left a
Nah,
interesting, yeah,
No.
him and his style and suits. Get out of here.
All right, so that decent debate. We probably can continue to go on for another half hour.
Jesse Eisenberg needs to stick to making zombie movies.
Yeah, well,
Just-
Marvel needs to learn how to make better villains.
Really?
All right.
Really?
All right, guys, that's where
Really?
we're gonna cut it.
We'll-
We're gonna end it right
We'll
there.
see when Thanos comes out.
Wait,
Done.
The sun's getting real low, big boy. We gotta cut it here.
Big boy. Damn, he just Black Widowed you.
I'm with you to the end of the line.
Oh my god. Wow.
Martha.
You know what? Just stab me. Don't stab me in the back. Stab me in the front, dude.
Oh,
All right?
that way you can look into his eyes.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you, Orlando, for coming on and hanging out with us and
Not a
getting
problem.
Tony all riled up here,
It
because
doesn't take much.
he was dropping F-bombs left and right for a few minutes.
It doesn't
there.
take much.
Fucking Marvel
Again, I'm a
fanboys.
DC fan. I'm a DC fan.
Goddamn fuckboys.
All right, guys. So from
I actually made a bet with this man. I told him.
I didn't agree to this bet.
I told
Is this
him.
the Star Wars one?
It is the Star Wars.
That's
one.
stupid. No.
No, but you're so confident
No.
about your DC
No.
universe.
I said Star Wars will always outgross almost anything because there is more of a fan base worldwide for Star Wars than any other movie. And what do you know? That movie hit like $2 fucking billion.
$2 billion.
I already knew that was a fucking stupid bet. I wasn't gonna take that. Star Wars has nothing to do with what we're fucking talking about now.
It does now, goddammit.
All right, guys. That's it.
Zack Snyder.
we gotta
They're gonna make a
go-
Force Awakens fucking movie that totally fucking sucks
We're
because
gonna
it's totally
have to
like
get some ice cream or something to calm
Mr.
these guys
Zack
down.
Snyder, can
All
you
right,
put it in
guys.
my butt, Zack?
For Worlds Collide, I'm Matt.
And I'm Tony.
Tony.
I'm
And
Orlando.
Orlando.
Special
Thanks for
guest
coming
Orlando.
on. We will see you guys next time. Stop fighting!
He farted.